Harvest One Cannabis and Delivra Corp announced that they have completed the previously announced plan of arrangement in which Harvest One acquired all of the issued and outstanding common shares of Delivra. Delivra Corp is a biotech company having a proprietary transdermal delivery system platform that can shuttle pharmaceutical and natural molecules through the skin. Each former shareholder of Delivra received 0.595 of a common share of Harvest One. Delivra has become a wholly owned subsidiary of Harvest One, and it is anticipated that the Delivra shares will be delisted from the TSX Venture Exchange as of the close of trading today. 1933 Industries announced that the company received a permanent occupancy permit for its cultivation facility in Las Vegas, Nevada. Upon securing the transfer of its cultivation license to the new facility, 26 plant varieties, 5,000 clones, and 200 moms will be transported to propagate the new facility and commence operations. The facility has an initial operating canopy of 22,100 square feet and houses 15 bloom rooms, 3 vegetation rooms, and 1 clone room. Blueberries Medical Corp announced the company's common shares traded in the U.S. under the symbol BBRRF are now eligible for electronic clearing and settlement through the Depository Trust Company in the United States. Trading of securities through DTC allows for cost-effective clearing and secure settlement, in turn simplifying and accelerating the settlement process for investors. North Bud Farms announced the closing of a second tranche of its non-brokered private placement, previously announced on May 15, 2019. The company issued 3.74 million units at a price of 30 cents per unit for gross proceeds of 1.12 million. Each unit is comprised of 1 common share and 1 common share purchase warrant. The company plans to use the net proceeds of the offering to hire additional staff for its Canadian operations and pursue M&A opportunities in the United States, including new state license applications. And that's your news for today. Happy 4th of July, everyone.
Woohoo! Fireworks! I hate fireworks. My dog.
That shirt's very Arizona-like.
Yeah, moving to Montana soon.
No, you're
gonna be a dental floss tycoon. Yes, I am. What? Oh, yeah, so turns out that some technological glitch caused us to not be streaming to some locations up until just a few seconds ago, so we apologize. But it's YouTube, what can I say? So let's start over again, Ed.
So let's start off to say that this is a show that's going to talk about primarily the marijuana industry.
Cannabis.
Plus some other things.
Gold.
But just, when you say like today, you say, well, what's going on? You know what's going on today?
Yes.
Fireworks.
4th of July.
Fireworks.
I hate fireworks. My dog hates fireworks.
I think we should use the word pyrotechnics.
Pyrotechnics?
Yeah, because I think it's
that has a nice
in
ring to
keeping
it.
with our sophisticated
audience.
Well, the
mumbo jumbo.
Host and co-host.
Ooh.
Little bit of a pat on that.
Woo.
There.
Woo.
Okay.
Right. So, yes, we were talking before the show about the fact that, where was it now? There was this one
Not a lot going on today.
Oh, there's tons going on, Edward.
Yeah.
Bruce Linton was...
no, that's the big story.
The headline from Financial Post. Bruce Linton's firing signals it is time for the cannabis industry to start delivering.
Wow.
What?
Wow.
Delivering what? Delivering cannabis? They already do deliver cannabis.
No, you have to call the mail. You can't, they don't deliver.
Who doesn't deliver? Canada Post delivers.
No home delivery.
Yeah. If you order from the medical system, it must arrive by mail via Canada Post. So they deliver. So first things, like this is what I hate about the cannabis industry, so much disinformation. The Financial Post is saying that the Bruce Linton's firing means that the cannabis industry has to start delivering, and they already deliver. Do you see what I'm saying? They're out to lunch.
Okay, but maybe Bruce forgot to tell him.
That they deliver?
Yeah.
Maybe nobody at the Financial Post actually.
Maybe those trucks, they thought they were pizza trucks.
They're like, no, wrong address. Keep moving.
Keep moving. And this guy down the street, you see, he just built a new swimming pool. He's bought a Rolls Royce. I think all that pot that they're being delivered, that they didn't know they were delivering, he sold it.
Jesus.
Jesus.
Jesus Cristo. Did you see Peru kick Chile's ass last night? America's Cup.
Peru
And Peru is on fire.
What game?
It was the final game of the whatever part of that conference of the America's Cup is.
America's Cup?
South America Cup.
Oh, you mean in...
The Southern Conference of the World Cup.
The boat race.
This is no, not the boat race. The soccer game.
America's Cup. You said America's Cup.
Yeah, that's what it's called. America Cup.
Oh, South America Cup.
Well, South America Cup.
What cup's this?
That's the
Coffee
Cup.
That's from Peru, too.
That'll give you hiccups. So Bruce Linden's firing. This is interesting because now all the speculation's coming out of the woodwork. People suggesting that he was fired because the people at Constellation are outraged over his loss of $300 million. I don't believe that they acquired the company expecting to be profitable in 2019. Do you?
Well, they must have thought that there'd be better indications. Because I think that's I'm sort of paraphrasing.
KPIs? Key performance indicators?
KPIs.
Better KPIs?
What's KP? KP was Kitchen Patrol, right?
Kitchen Patrol.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, it was always an argument as to whose turn it was on KP duty. Because whoever's turn it was had to clean up the kitchen, which was not a favorite activity among us youngsters.
What about BP activity?
BP?
Bathroom patrol.
Oh, I thought you meant butane torching shatter dabs patrol.
Okay.
Anyway, so off to a late start with all this confusion. Now, we've got a big show coming up today. It's only going to be an hour long. Why? Because we're busy people. And 1 hour is plenty. That's all you need to hear from us in a given day. Manyane Molaleki, my good friend, the Deputy Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Lesotho, is going to join me for a conversation. That's one of our last pieces from Live from London. I'm going to have a conversation with Moran Essen. He is the CEO of Permex Petroleum. Yes, there are actually oil and gas companies out there drilling prodigiously into the Permian Basin.
Yeah.
That's the name Permex. Then William Muki is going to be here. He is a managing partner with Artemis Growth Partners. They are based in Costa Rica. They are a global private equity fund deploying capital into primarily at this point the cannabis space. Had a great conversation with him. Send us your questions and your comments, and we'll try our best to answer them. But let's see. We already had the news. Other news today. It was reported that by fair access to medical cannabis, the Arthritis Society and the Canadian Pharmacists Association, that legalization was making it actually harder for medical cannabis users to get cannabis. So does that mean it was easier for them when it was illegal?
Yeah.
It was easier to get cannabis when it was illegal?
Yes. Well, yeah.
See, you and I are going to harvest some cannabis today.
Yes.
And we're going to shoot, Ed and I are going to harvest my last 2 plants. We're going to trim down all 4 plants, and we're going to record that with our trusty production crew in the control room. Do we have a camera in the control room we can cut to you guys quickly? No?
I guess it's because they're...
Oh, there they are. Yay!
Look at
That's
that.
Donnell Corkery and Suzanne Garcia in the control room. Fraser Toms is probably in there somewhere, too. So we're going to have our marijuana actually on display, and next week...
Can we smoke it?
That's what I grew it for, Edward. We're going to smoke it.
Tonight?
I cut down a plant a week ago to make sure that when we shot this, we would have some cannabis to consume on site.
Okay.
Wow.
We should have done the show right from there today.
Well, we're going to do parts of it later, but it's going to be part of tomorrow's show.
Okay.
So that way we'll be able to take off earlier tomorrow and go... Because it's a long weekend.
Another long weekend?
Yeah.
Another one?
Sure.
Okay.
Why not? It's the 7th of July.
Where does time go? Do you know it was 2 weeks ago we were talking about going to London?
Well, did we go to London?
I think so.
Seems like a dream.
I said you went on Friday morning. No,
Yes.
Thursday morning. Friday morning.
Friday.
Saturday.
No, I left on Friday morning.
Friday morning.
I left there Friday night.
I left there Saturday night.
That was a long day. Actually, I got sick in London. I'm still just getting over it.
Yeah.
I think I got John sick too, one of our erstwhile neighbors here. So anyways, yeah, what do you think about that idea that legalization is making it harder for people to get cannabis? That doesn't make a lot of sense.
Well, you know, it's sort of like, you know, we were in England and we heard some people talking about how the government sort of messed up the CBD thing. Like
CBD.
You know.
CBD.
Like, in other words, wherever governments get involved, it looks like there's no motive.
They make a dog's breakfast and everything.
They don't give a shit.
What business does government have in business? None.
They shouldn't be.
No.
They should be there to protect you. That's it.
Protect you?
That's what Ayn Rand said.
Well, I stick one hand in your pocket.
They're protecting you, all right.
They're protecting you. Yeah, here, let me protect you from that money.
Yeah.
Faye Smith, one of our loyal viewers, says she wants to see a picture of my dog on the show. Faye, I have 2 dogs. Do you want to see a picture of the dog that actually is terrified of fireworks? Because I think I have a picture of her here being terrified of fireworks, which I'm going to email to Donnell in the control room, and hopefully he can put it up. And you can see this sweet little dog's face in the midst of being horrified by fireworks, because it is a tragic sight.
Is it tragic?
Well, it's very heart-wrenching. It's like, poor dog, she's just not into it, and it's like obviously scaring the bejesus out of her, and she's not enjoying her life at that time.
Jesus.
Let's see, where can I find that? Anyways, while I'm looking for that photo, we're going to have a quick conversation with, let's see. How about we pick His Excellency Monyane Moleleki, Deputy Prime Minister and Cabinet Minister of the Kingdom of Lesotho. Joining me now is my very special guest, His Excellency Mr. Monyane Milewski, who is the Deputy Prime Minister and a Cabinet Minister of Lesotho. Sir, welcome to my show.
Well, it's a pleasure being here, James.
Can I ask you, what was the catalyst for Lesotho to become a cannabis advocate?
Well, James, you know, we come from traditions of herbal medicine generally. The only medical people, doctors, traditionally speaking, were herbal doctors, so to speak. So we have always looked upon any herbal medicine positively. The people who came to occupy our land before we did, thousands of years, were the San people, the Bushmen people, the so-called Hottentots. And they relied on Mother Nature to produce the herbs to keep alive and healthy. So because of that tradition that we have inherited from them, it has come naturally for us to look positively upon herbal medicine. That is the tradition. And we are not really used, traditionally speaking, to the chemistry, medicine, pharmacy. So we build onto the traditional medicine that we have inherited from those who have gone before us and are now modernizing it. Even people who believe in chemistry and chemical products for medicine are beginning to become converted to our way of working with Mother Nature, the endowment of nature in producing medicines.
So how far back would you say the tradition of herbal medicine goes in Lesotho?
It's from time immemorial, but at least formally, our parliament in 1974, that's 45 years ago already, passed legislation which made it possible with the advent of cannabis for pharmaceutical products. So it came naturally from the antecedents, from things which came before you and I were born. Well, before you were born, James. I was already a young man. when the Parliament passed that legislation. Now we are modernizing it to become more compliant, to become more progressive, if you will.
Sure.
Stay at the cutting edge of legal and regulatory framework so that the investors feel welcome and comfortable to come into our country, be properly regulated without hampering their work.
So is the infrastructure of Lesotho currently, in its current form, conducive to compliance with EU GMP standards for extraction?
It's already compliant, sir, because it was written into modern legislation. But as I say, we are going from step by step to become more compliant and be more progressive so that we always remain on the cutting edge.
Tell me about the environment for growing cannabis in Lesotho. Is it the right temperature, the right soil, the right elevation?
Okay, let me say a word about the advantages we have. One is the water quality, and cannabis needs plenty of good quality water. And all the major, freshwater sources in Southern Africa have their sources in our country, because God placed Lesotho nearest to him, up above sea level, and those conditions up above sea level make it very healthy for cannabis plants and herbs, the hemp and so on, to grow. And the soils are rich as well. So everything is there made for us. We only have to take advantage of it, realize it, notice what we've got, and make use of it.
Sure. Is the idea for the government of Lesotho to welcome all comers who want to invest and grow throughout Lesotho, or is it more of a measured approach to select from a limited number of the people who will come rushing to you?
We are wide open to applications and a show of interest. And then we select the very best that come, so that everyone feels welcome and invited, so that there is good, environment for all to participate who have an interest.
Right. Interesting. So how much investment has come into the country so far?
In dollar terms, I wouldn't say off the cuff, but I can assure you, sir, there is a plethora of companies applying for license, even, I'm afraid, fly-by-night outfits. But everybody feels that the doors are open and they are welcome. And it's up to the regulation mechanism to sift and pick and choose the best.
So are you interested as a nation in supplying just commodity level biomass, or are you more interested and focused on creating the value add products that constitute consumers?
We are much more interested in going the entire range from growing, cultivation that is, to extraction. We are collaborating with the best institutions and universities from beyond South Africa, from our own country. In other words, we are inviting the best brains and researchers from across the globe to come and work with us, because the atmosphere and climate is already right now as it is, and we are becoming only more compliant.
Great. Are there companies currently growing cannabis there?
Yes, sir. At least I can think of 1, 2, 3, close to about 6 or 7 already in production since 2018.
Interesting. Well, it's going to be a great story to see how it puts Lesotho on the map in terms of a lot of, like, I had never heard of Lesotho. I always saw it on a map and said, oh, Lesotho.
I see.
Which everybody has. But suddenly now everybody knows how to say Lesotho because of the cannabis evolution.
Thank you. It always works out like that. If there is a good footballer or a tennis player, sometimes people know more about the tennis player and the footballer than the president of the country.
Right.
So now that you know us, thanks to cannabis, respect the plant.
Right.
Because it's made us famous and respectable now
Right.
to the world.
Awesome. Well,
Thanks to the plant. I'm going to start a motto. Respect the plant. Thanks to the plant, we are well famous now.
I'm with you there. That's great. Thank you very much for your participation today.
Yes, thank you very much.
And I just want to take this moment to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Halo Labs, trading on the NEO exchange under the symbol HALO, trading in Germany under the symbol ANKN, and trading in the United States under the symbol AGEEF. Halo Labs is in the extracts business. They are the creators of the new sensation sweeping the nation, the Dab Tab. If you haven't tried a Dab Tab, get your ass to a dispensary in California and try a Dab Tab. What is a Dab Tab? A little ceramic delivery device.
A dab.
With live resin in it that you put in the shadowizer. That's the classiest little delivery device I've ever seen. Boom, you're high, you throw it away, on to the next thing, no muss, no fuss, no rolling, no twisties, no papers, no pin, no torch, no nothing.
A little dab will do you.
A little dab will do you.
A dab tab.
A dab tab.
I get it. You get a little dab on the tab.
Dab tabs are going to sweep the nation. They're going to be a big sensation. Just like summertime and the time is
just
right.
Like my generation.
For dancing. Yeah, something like that. Anyways, yes, what else? So you can check out Halo Labs at halocana.com. Now, let's return to the conversation about the cannabis news today. Did you know that cannabis use jumped by 40% in Canada between 2013 and 2017, according to a UN report?
Okay,
what?
Up 40%.
Up 40%.
Okay.
From 2013. So how many people were smoking in Canada in 2013? That's my question.
40% less.
40% less, but it wasn't zero.
No.
So let's say that the standard ratio applies. 20% of the population generally admits to having smoked marijuana and or still consuming it on occasion. So that would imply Canada's 34 million people. That would imply 6.4 million people, up by 40%. What's 40% of 6.4, Ed?
2.4, 2.6.
2.6, so 6.4 plus 2.6 brings us to
6.8.
8. 7.
6.8.
7.6. Anyways, so
you know, next time you get a dog, get a pointer, and so that when you're doing these calculations, you can point to the dog and he'll point to you.
But then we won't get an answer.
That's tough.
Anyways, so yes, you got to tune in tomorrow because tomorrow we're going to harvest our plants. Yes, they've been growing. We showed them on our show. I'm going to show you just a little later.
Do they only grow when the camera's on, or do they grow when
I don't know. The only time I see when they're growing is when the camera's on, so I don't know what they're up to when the camera's off. For all I know, they're like, okay, that's a lot of hard work. Let's go get a drink now.
Yeah.
That asshole's not watching us anymore. We can chill out.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to harvest the cannabis. That'll be on tomorrow's show. I'm really quite proud. I've got buds the size of donkey ears. So that's us in our little cannabis crop. Interesting that Illinois is now also approving marijuana for recreational purposes. Illinois, though, went an extra step, and they decided to expunge the criminal records of anybody convicted for marijuana, which I think shouldn't that be like standard practice? They didn't do that in Canada.
De rigueur.
It should be. there we go. Should be standard practice. If you're going to take a law that ruins people's lives, and then you're going to say, "Oh, we fucked up."
Yeah, but look at all the things that have happened over eons where somebody has been falsely accused. Not eons, because humanity, for all intents and purposes, has only been around like maybe 50,000 years.
So that's like what, quarter of an eon?
Not even close. Not even that.
A tenth of an eon.
Usually they think of an eon as like a billion years.
An eon is a billion years?
Well, with crossword puzzles, they say billions of years, and the answer is eons.
Eons?
Yeah.
So 1 eon is 1 billion?
Like, a guy with his name is Eon.
Elon
Right.
Musk?
Elon Musk. He's a billionaire.
He's a billionaire. Hey, that's good, Ed. Wow. That's impressive. So yeah, Illinois approved legal weed on Tuesday.
Yeah.
They became the 11th state.
Yeah, but you notice all the politicians that are in prison from Illinois, they're still
out of jail?
They're still in prison.
Well, you think that's funny, do you?
I think it's hilarious.
There's zero risk of you ending
that
up
if
there.
you win a lottery in Illinois, they can't pay you. They give you an IOU.
What?
They give you an IOU. They give you like 1/100th of what you win, and they say we owe you the rest.
And when do you get it?
You may never get it.
There's no.
That's why they like this idea of a lottery where there's really no prize.
Wow.
So you buy a lottery and you win it, but you get no money. I like that.
Oh, interesting. I had a conversation with a gentleman in the oil and gas industry earlier today, and I had to.
American or Canadian oil and gas industry? Canadian.
American or Canadian oil and gas industry. Canada doesn't have an oil and gas industry
That's
anymore.
true too. Okay, so American.
But he's actually a Canadian listed CSE company, but all of his properties are in the Permian Basin in the southeastern United States. Are you familiar with the Permian Basin? Probably one of the most, actually I would say it's ground zero for the shale oil phenomenon.
That's what I always hear about. But I think Perm in that case has some. They're alluding to
Permian
sense of
era.
stability, like permanent.
No, Permian. So you got all these eras.
Get your hair curled.
The names of the eons: the Permian, the Devonian. So the Permian Basin is a reference to its
Edwardian,
time. Jamesonian. Anyways, this gentleman's name is Marin Eshan. He is the CEO of Permex Petroleum.
Where is he based?
And he's based in Vancouver? Calgary. Where? Vancouver. Yeah, he's based in Vancouver. Anyways, here's a conversation I had with him.
Permex Petroleum is a uniquely positioned junior oil and gas company with assets and operations across the Permian Basin of West Texas and Delaware Sub-Basin of New Mexico. The company focuses on combining its low-cost development of held-by-production assets for sustainable growth with its current and future blue sky projects for scale growth. The company, through its wholly owned subsidiary, Permex Petroleum US Corporation, is a licensed operator in both states and owns and operates on private, state, and federal land. Permex Petroleum trades on the Canadian Securities Exchange under the ticker OIL.
I'm joined now by Marin Eshan. He is the president and CEO of Permex Petroleum Corporation, trading on the CSE under the symbol OIL. Marin, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Marin, let's start with an overview. What exactly is, it's kind of self-evident in the name, but what exactly is the business of Permex Petroleum?
Sure. Permex Petroleum is a uniquely positioned junior oil and gas company with assets and operations across the Permian Basin of West Texas and the Delaware Sub-Basin of Southeast New Mexico. We essentially own and operate oil and gas wells on federal, state, and private land.
Oh, okay. Well, the Permian Basin is certainly a famous producing body of hydrocarbon. It's interesting that you are actively developing this in an environment of falling oil prices, especially, we just heard that OPEC decided to pledge to continue their diminishing output in an effort to keep prices from falling too much further. How sensitive is your company to that oil price?
I think there is no E&P company out there that would say we're not sensitive to oil prices. With regards to OPEC, you're absolutely right. 1.2 million barrels in cuts continues for the next 9 months. And as you'll notice, the environment's changed a bit where historically when OPEC comes out and says this, WTI and Brent go up, but this time it did not phase it as much, and that's because of the shale resiliency into the US, and that's the market we're in. So price sensitivity, we are price sensitive. However, we operate in an environment with some of the lowest operating expenses and some of the highest operating netbacks.
Sure. Okay, so let's go in depth on that. Tell me about the netbacks and the types of exactly what kind of pay zones you're working in.
Sure. So when you look at the Texas play, specifically West Texas, majority of the hype was created around the Wolfcamp formation, which is deep, requires much fracking, thus the cost is quite high. With us, it's more conventional San Andres wells. They're shallower, they don't require the same amount of fracking or operating expenses. So when you look at our operating netbacks, we run it at 45 oil WTI, and netback is around $29, which is quite healthy.
Wow, that is. Okay, so, I mean, a lot of companies have really come from nowhere to become major sort of integrated producers. Continental Resources comes to mind. Is that sort of the ambition of Permex Petroleum Oil, is to sort of grow incrementally on increasing production?
That's absolutely right. And it's funny you bring up Concho. Concho is personally my favorite company out there. I have followed them quite well. We know them quite well, their personnel. One of the best operators in that region. The model we've looked at has been to be silent on the sidelines as a small junior player. Don't take on debt, but take on a hawkish position where other operators are leveraging and struggling now in this environment. We would go in and start taking up some of their acreages in preparation for drilling and development as oil prices recover.
I see. So is your business model then typically to farm in as a financial partner? Or so
not necessarily. We are an operator.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't mean we won't farm in and do JVs. In fact, if you look at one of our properties, we're a working interest partner with Occidental Petroleum. When we proceed to do our drilling of horizontal wells, we will actually embark on utilizing their expertise as a large cap to drill them for us as our joint venture partner on that field.
Continental sort of became famous being among the most willing to spend rather prodigiously on large horizontal multi-stage fracs at depth that were, some wells running upwards of $20 million. That's not the case because you guys are more conventional, more shallow, as you say. So does that mean that you're not doing any multi-stage horizontal fracking?
No, that does not mean that. So the way you're looking at it is, it's like comparing a well that you're injecting 20 million, doing a 50-stage frac on a 12,000-foot vertical hole and another 2 miles out lateral. Nothing like that is what we're touching. We do have basement rights on our leases, which allows us to do that, but Permex is not as of a size to do that at this juncture, nor would we want to risk putting 20 million in one hole, even if we could at this juncture. What we're targeting is a San Andres conventional play at around 5,000 feet deep, 1 mile out, with a 20-stage frac program. This would cost the company approximately $2.5 million to $3 million USD to drill and develop it. But when you look at the payouts on some of these wells, 400 barrels a day in production, the payout is less than a year at 50 oil. Rule of thumb, if the payout of a well is under 12 months, drill it. If it's over 12 months, walk away from it.
Sure, and what does the decline timeline look like on most of those wells?
That's another good question. So when you look at Continental going after Wolfcamps, have some of the steepest decline curves. That's why we always discuss shale. Although the shale revolution has been strong, one thing that people don't understand is the significant declines that these have. With the San Andres, you're looking at around 30% year-on-year decline in the first year, which the second year goes to around 15, then 7.5% grandfathers at that level.
Okay, well that's certainly better than some of those deeper fracs. How is the competition for acquiring those types of shallower projects? I would think you would have to pay more for something that's so much closer to surface and less risky.
Historically that would be the case. But when you look at the hype and some of the production out of the deeper zones, it's like, think about this. Would the competition be more right now for demand for horizontal rigs or vertical rigs? Because the hype is around horizontal, demand for horizontal rigs is much higher than vertical. So one would actually be able to get the vertical rigs at a much discount to market. When you look at our shallower stuff, the production isn't nowhere close to what the large caps are doing at 2,000 to as high as I've seen 11,000 barrels a day from a well. You have an area that you can go into. That is why when you look at the San Andres, one of the main companies that focuses on it is Ring Energy. One of the other companies that does it is Pacesetter Energy. So you don't have that much of a hype around it yet, and that allows us to embark on it without that much competition still.
Sure. Okay. And tell me, how is Permex capitalized at this point?
So up to this point, we have utilized our cash flow for small incremental growth for the company. Moving forward, we're going to need to be able to raise either capital or do a convertible notes. One of the things our company has never done is, again, debt. That's one weakness that we don't want to have. However, given where we are, given the environment in the marketplace and where our share price is, we have to consider certain notes possibility for us to raise capital in order to drill our horizontals. As I indicated, each well will require $2.5 to $3 million. We would take 2 shots at net and anticipate to start doing this in fall sometime. So between now and fall, it's a matter of correcting our market, creating awareness, and getting us to a position to capitalize ourselves for that drilling program.
Sure. And from your planning perspective, where do you see the price of oil going in the near term?
I am not going to be speculating about that. Anyone that speculates now is going to be wrong, because you look at the corrections we've had over the past 60 years, we've had quite a few of them. They have been predictable to a degree. This round has not been. We've been downward correcting for 5 years now. And every time we have an upswing, there's another sentiment or fundamental or speculative or technical that drives it down. Personally, I don't think we're going to see 70, 80 WTI anytime soon.
Okay. And finally, tell me about the what's your production profile look like going out 12, 24, 36 months on a forward-looking basis?
Sure. So when we look at fall, if we were to bring on one of the wells, that adds 400 barrels to where we are. So our anticipation is 2 of those wells. If we do DNC, drill and complete 2 wells and put them on pump, and they're progressing nicely at 400 barrels a day each, we're going to be over 1,000 barrels a day for first half of 2020. This is where we're headed, and that's where we want to be, is to knock out 2, but we have room for 12 of these wells. Once we have had 2 under our belts, it becomes such an easy strategy for us to pursue the balance of the 10 wells on it.
Wow, so you envision being over 10,000 barrels per day within 2 or 3 years then?
If we are able to succeed, again, this is oil and gas.
Right.
It is risky,
sure,
but we are not doing any wildcatting. We're not doing any exploration. This is all infill drilling. As a matter of fact, we're producing from that formation already. We're just tagging into it on a lateral scale. So if we have the funding to do it, we will do it and continue drilling them. If we do not, and we do succeed on the first 2 wells, we will use organic cash flow growth to drill the rest of the wells out.
I see. Fantastic. And tell me about your technical team quickly. Who's overseeing the design of the programs and everything?
So on the U.S. side, we have engineers and geologists. Our team is 3 engineers, 3 geologists spread across both sides.
Okay.
Nice pedigree that have done San Andres. In fact, when you look at our U.S. side, the main focus of our team has been this formation. In fact, they've done over 100 wells in the San Andres for other companies. So from an engineering side, we have experts that have done this over and over from a geological standpoint as well. Some of the team have worked with Gulf Oil, some of them have worked with Exxon in the past. But the main thing is boots on the ground and the experience within this formation. Those are the important things, and those we do carry at Permex.
Fantastic. All right, Marin, let's leave it there for now. That's a great introduction to the company. We'll come back and follow your progress with interest. Thanks for joining me today.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, too. Let's talk about Aurora. Recently, your financials, you've more or less delivered on.
Here are the headlines moving markets today.
If you're lucky to buy it 3 days ago at 37 cents,
and I think it has a lot to do with some of these smaller names giving really.
Recreational cannabis is here. It's quite dry. So I'm going to eliminate the stocky bits.
I'm joined now by William Mucke. He's with Artemis Growth Partners, co-founding managing member of Artemis Growth Partners, LLC. William, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
William, you're based in the UK in private equity investing in cannabis.
So officially, I'm still based in Costa Rica, which is the origin of the group.
Okay.
We're an offshore fund. We invest actually in North America, Latin America, and Europe. But I'm physically moving to London as of August this year.
Ah, okay.
Because Europe is too big.
Right, right, it is. So tell me about what kind of investments Artemis Growth Partners make. What kind of structure do you appeals to you?
So we are early to growth stage equity coming in. Typically, we like to invest into security, convert or preferred, but we'll do straight equity and deals, basically Series A through Series C, and into some public companies.
And so long-only platform?
Basically a long-only platform, not a hedge fund, not shorting any stocks.
Okay, great. Because the companies always want to know. It says hedge fund.
Indeed. No. We are here to support the vision of the entrepreneur and the founder, and see that vision to fruition.
Okay. And so, do you invest in cannabis elsewhere, outside of the UK? Previously?
We do. So our investment fund started as a global fund, which meant that we were looking at the main markets at that point in time when we started, which is 2017-18. It was really North America, and that grafted into Latin America, starting with Colombia.
Sure.
We're now looking at opportunities in Latin America and Mexico as Brazil opens up, other jurisdictions. But because Europe right now is 500 million consumers waiting to come online.
Right.
We're actually strategically positioning ourselves to be here in Europe, and we're already making investments.
Okay, so you've been investing since you've probably invested in some Canadian LPs.
Some Canadian LPs, U.S. companies that have Canadian structures, as I said, Colombian companies, and we have now a couple of, in the portfolio and in the pipeline, European companies as well.
Okay, so then from your perspective, given your global experience, access to the entire European market is a question mark, is it not, given that there's Brexit potentially that could cause some barriers to entry?
So I think that Europe is still a series of small islands. I think that the idea of having a ubiquitous regulatory framework is an idea that we all support, but it's not there yet. So we are investing in countries and looking at the EU as a bloc, but it's really Germany right now is the main driver of consumption. Italy just announced that they're going to open up their market as well. Those are two very large markets in and of themselves, but when you look at the UK, it's obviously, with the population and the opportunity, significant market to invest into.
Sure. So have you, at this conference, seen many opportunities that you would consider investment worthy?
You know, I think at this conference, it's been a really interesting mix of very high quality companies, some that have opportunities for us to invest in, some that we want to get to know and watch for a while. But yes, I think that the EU and actually with Britain still being part of the EU right now, a very interesting area for us to deploy capital into.
Sure. So do you have any expectation that a recreational market will form part of the opportunity going forward?
I think in the distant future, perhaps, but we look at, so again, as a global platform, we look at North America as a CPG market. If you travel to California, you sort of travel into the future as to what that market can look like, where just like walking into a liquor store, you can walk into a dispensary and walk out with cannabis as a recreational opportunity. Latin America is much more of a exporter's market, although there are domestic consumption markets that are opening up. When we look at Europe, however, Europe is really a pharma model. So when we think about how cannabis gets to the patient, it's really through a doctor's script, which means that the regulatory environment is significant. And that's actually, for an investor, a great thing. That creates barriers and a very nice environment to invest into.
The global supply of CBD has exploded beyond anybody's wildest imagination in the last few months. Do you get a sense at all that there's an oversupply of CBD that might result in commodity price competition?
So I think that the price of CBD will definitely come down, but if you think about the next dominoes to fall in CBD consumption, if we believe that CBD will be relatively unregulated, or it's going to be regulated but allowed for food consumption, looking at some of the large CPG companies coming online that could have CBD in their products, that's a significant uptake of potential future capacity. So it may be a short-term anomaly that you actually have too much supply, but we don't think that's going to exist long-term.
China's the #1 producer of hemp in the world and is already offering concentrated CBD isolates online at remarkably low prices. The only thing that keeps them from sort of really chipping away at the market share that more localized companies have ex of China is the fact that these import and export barriers are
at this point still strong. So do you think that that's going to be a key sort of development when those borders these barriers start to come down as a result of free trade sort of philosophy?
I think it may have an effect, but there is also a consumer element as it relates to China as well. So thinking about what's going in your body versus going as a topical, there may be a differentiation between where your sourcing of CBD comes from.
Sure.
So when you think about open markets, I think that China is going to have a significant amount of industrial capacity coming online. As that relates to what goes in the body, I'm not sure if China is going to be the main source of that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so how does an investor participate in Artemis Growth Partners?
So we are a 100% private equity closed fund.
Oh.
Typically, you have to be a family office or an individual that has accredited investor status, and then you can invest with us as a partner.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Well, I'm sure we'll be hearing more from you, and I'd love to have this conversation with you in a year's time to see where all this evolved to. But great to meet you, and thanks for your participation.
Thank you for your time.
If you like the show, you'll love our website. Visit us at www.midasletter.com for interviews with key CEOs, cannabis news, and to subscribe to our newsletter.
Come on, where's the little sponsorship bug down in the lower left? Yay! Here's a big thanks to our sponsor, Halo Labs, and yes, all kinds of things I can tell you about Halo Labs. They are the founders of the Dab Tabs, creators of the Dab Tabs and the Shatterizer, which are soon going to sweep the country. I'm telling you, because I tried this unit down in California, and let me just tell you, it blows.
Does it get you high real fast?
Well, it gets you high real fast, but if you want to dab, you need a big dab deck and a spike and a torch, and then you got to have your shatter resin, rosin, wax, whatever. It's a big production. So if you're a big fan of dabbing, because the great thing about dabbing is essentially it's the purest way to do it.
Is it dabbing or daubing?
Dab.
Because there's a word in the English language, daub, D-A-U-B.
You know dabbing? The sports guys do that?
Dabbing.
Dabbing.
I thought it was daubing.
No.
You know, you look a little like
dabble do ya.
You're perspiring. Let me
little dabble do you.
Daub your head with a dab. Dab your daub.
Dab your dab.
Let me daub your dab.
Have you dabbed it all yet, Ed? We're going to do a big fat hit later on.
Let's do a dab.
I don't have any extracts, but we're going to be making our own extracts here next week. If you want to learn how to make your own concentrated CBD THC
I think
product.
if you dab a dub, if you dab a bud, that's a dub. Dab a dub.
Right, as I was saying.
Dab a dub, a female dub.
Okay. We didn't take a look at our cannabis indexes, which we're going to do quickly. It was a quiet day.
I guarantee you also, maybe you should say before you do it, can someone plug the market back in? Because it's been unplugged for the day.
Boy, that sounds, you sound like you got quite an attitude there, mister.
I'm telling you, the U.S., I hate to say it, but we're still, a little satellite of...
You're suggesting we're sucking hind tit when it comes to the U.S.? Boy, oh boy, I don't like your attitude, mister. Anyways, let's get
Wipe
that
the smell out of your face. Wipe that smell out of your face, mister.
Wipe the smell out of your face. I'm going to wipe that smell right out of your face.
Yeah.
That would be hilarious. How would you do that?
How about I give you the stink eye? How about that?
The stink eye? What's that look like? That's the stink eye right there?
Yeah.
Which one was the stink eye? It looks like I just
Either one. The one that you fear the most.
It looks like I just got stink eyes.
Stink eye.
Okay, looking at our cannabis index, can we see that on the NDI? Yes, please. Oh yeah, look at that. Zooming right in on the large cap index. Look at that, Edward. Now, see, poo-pooers, look at that volume, super low. Let's go intraday on this and see what we got.
You see, you broke it a little bit there yesterday, and now,
This is the day's trading.
That's the day.
That's today. So intraday, touched a high of 10,075, closed the day down at 10,000 even. How's that for a 4th of July miracle? But look at the volume.
4th of July miracle.
What? Look at the volume. Zero.
Wow, that's impressive.
What?
Jesus.
How is that?
Yeah.
It's not zero. Our markets weren't closed today. What the hell is going on here? Do you think maybe...
Yeah, it was closed today.
What do you mean it's closed today?
America closed it.
America was closed today, but Canada wasn't closed.
Canada.
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 Oh, Canada. our home and native buds.
I'll just do it just like if I was at a hockey game.
True patriot reefers, and all our dabs come in with gloom.
You notice as you get further into it, there's more guys humming.
Yeah, nobody can remember all the words.
Oh,
not really a patriotic bunch, Canadians, for the most part.
Well, just think before they even had language, there couldn't have been boundaries, right? How could you have a boundary if there was no
Good point. Look at that. Looking at the Midas Letter small cap index, clearly the small cap index wasn't closed today because there's all kinds of data. Sproutly Canada closed up 3 cents at 69 cents. They were once a client. I think they might still be a small client. Charlotte's Web Holdings up 81 cents. Look at that's a big move for
only a small
day.
client in a sense because it was in the small cap.
Right. C-Web. Look at C-Web did a big move today, up 3.85%, 81 cents to 21.86 on the 4th of July. They're creating their own fireworks to celebrate.
Pyrotechnics.
Pyrotechnics. Rise up, gather round, rock this place to the ground. You know what song that is? Pyromania. Did you see the Netflix flick about Motley Crue called Dark or
Dirt?
You dirty bastard. Anyways, let's go see what some of the other companies are doing. You bastards. Let's go see what happened on the CSE today on this 4th of July. Any fireworks over here?
I don't like that
33.3% economic growth indicator. Is that what you don't like? You turd?
Well, if you don't like 33.3%, Jesus Christ. I can't get much more out of the damn thing, Captain. Scotty, we need more lithium crystals. Jeez.
Anyways,
I'm trying, Captain.
Look at MYM Nutraceuticals up 36% today. What the hell is going on there at 52 cents? That's a big move. Is that a buy? What happened there? Let's click on it and see if we get any news. Okay. Look at that. Look at that. Turn around.
MYM.
Let's zoom right in there. Like, what the hell is going on? Where's the news?
Yeah, where's the news?
An Investor Ideas podcast was released 2 days ago. That can't be it. Top cannabis companies gaining exposure on Colombian growth stories. That's just a bunch of bullshit. Oh, look, here's an actual press release. 3:01 a.m. on Tuesday, July the 2nd.
And before we get into July 5th, I just want to say one thing.
What?
I think we got to, even though there's a lot of marijuana going on here, I think we got to pay attention to what's going on in the gold world because gold seems to be swinging at least 20, 25, 30 bucks a day now.
Colombian gold?
Sure. Gold chocolate bar.
Gold. Okay, so let's see. What were the big gainers on the Midas Letter CSE index? Is it time? We're running out of time. Oh, but we didn't start till 15 minutes late.
Okay. Charlotte's Web. That's a biggie. 11%. Look at this one. 38%.
38%.
MYM.
Yeah, I know. That's the one I was just talking about.
Does there echo in here?
I don't know. Gold Leaf Holdings. Look at that. Big rise of 7.69% from 7 cents.
Big rise related to Big John?
What happened to Gold Leaf? Did that shit the bed in a big way or what?
Is that the one?
This is one that I would point out. Golden Leaf Holdings. We called that a weapon of mass financial destruction the day it started trading 3 years ago.
That's because of the difference in voting shares? Was that?
Well, so there was a bunch of hanky-panky going on in that
This is the one that we know some of the people.
No, this is not that one.
Okay.
No, this is a long story, which in an effort not to get a bullet in the back of the head as I'm walking down the street one night, I'm not going to give any details.
You know what? Don't go there. Just say, hey.
Good luck, boys.
Hey, once in a while, you just can't buy them.
You can't always be a winner.
En masse.
We can't all be winners.
I like it when you have a winning ticket and they're like the lottery company is going to give you $1 after you spend $100.
Yeah.
And here you, winner, Gagnon.
Gagné.
I think it's Gagnon.
Gagné.
No, N-O-N.
N-A-N-E-R.
N-O-N.
G-A.
You want to bet?
No, I don't want to bet.
I'll bet you
Edward.
50 cents.
No.
50
Anyways,
cents.
this is our show for today. Tomorrow we're going to have lots of fun. Next week, don't forget, we're going to do our show live from Bruce Linton's backyard. I kid you not. I shit you not. This is happening.
This is here.
Next week.
What about this?
Tomorrow we're going to bring you the live.
Go
snip,
forward
snip,
and
snip,
prosper.
snip.
Look at this.
We're going
Look
now to cut down the marijuana.
They're gonna hire
Ed's
me
got
on
his
Star
scissor
Trek.
hands.
Star Trek.
Edward Scissorhands is going to come over and trim our marijuana. We're catching that on video. That'll be on tomorrow's show. And then don't forget, Matt Murphy's going to be joining us tomorrow from our other sponsor, Khiron Life Sciences.
Okay.
Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.